Hey everyone, Hal here. Summer means it's almost time for hunt stock. So this year there's going to be two. We're going to have the one in Westminster and over by Utica, New York, with the Adirondack crew. And I'll be at both of them with the guys from the team. And we'll be there having fun. It's a great event. Been to the last two since they started in Mass. Great time, great people, lots of things going on, lots of prize giveaways. Big Woods crew will be doing some seminars, podcasts, just interacting with all of you, having fun. That's what it's about, gearing up for deer season, and it won't be long till it gets here. So anyway, you buy your tickets at huntstockevents.com. And if you use the BWB code, you can get your tickets with that code. But what we're going to do, a little something special, we're going to do it at the Massachusetts event in Westminster. Everybody that has a ticket with a BWB code is going to get a free meatloaf sandwich. And word has it, we might even have a fire pit, toast them on. So get your tickets ordered up. And get your meatloaf sandwich at lunchtime on Saturday, and we'll tell some deer stories, have a good time, and can't wait. Going to be a fun time. Order up your tickets, and we'll see you there. Hey, Hal here. Just wanted to tell you we're excited about our partnership with Minus 33. Minus 33 specializes in merino wool base layers for outdoor enthusiasts, from tops and bottoms to hats, socks, gloves. And our gear is going to keep you warm and comfortable no matter what adventure you're on, especially those Big Woods ones. We're a fifth-generation family, owned and operated, a New Hampshire woolen textile manufacturer. They have over 106 years of woolen expertise, and they started manufacturing woolen socks, the Mountain Heritage ones, in New Hampshire in 2018. With the idea that a quality product, affordable pricing, and can be worn and loved from season to season, no matter what your experience level or skill is, so no one should feel uncomfortable or ill-prepared in the outdoor community. Having a reliable gear is one of the first steps towards a lifetime of passion or whatever activity it is. And my caveat to that is you got to wear your woolies. Cotton is death.
This is the Big Woods Bucks podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine master guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-host Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets to big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood, sitting down here with Joe Cruzy.
Hello.
Enjoying another day. And today, our special guest is Bill Greaves, and he is the big honcho at the, what's your title now again? Director.
It's director at North Maine Woods Corporation.
Right, the director of the North Maine Woods Corporation, which is an organization of landowners that allow us use on their land, and it's I think unique only to Maine, wouldn't it be, Bill?
Yeah, it's very, very unique in the sense of so many private industrial landowners that get together to allow public access for the rest of us. And we pretty much, I'm not going to say we got free reign, but we can go there and hunt and fish and recreate as long as we work within the laws of the state on about 3.5 million acres.
Yeah, so this, we've got a lot of listeners and followers from other states, and most of them don't understand how private land works in Maine, because most places, if it's private land, you ain't hunting there, you know. So we just explained to them that the landowners are, I guess, more generous and have been. It's really a tradition here in Maine to have almost a open use policy like that, and so it really is unique to Maine, and we're really blessed to have it that way, I feel.
So just to start back from the beginning, Bill, because I know there was, like we were talking a minute ago, there was another director. Is this your first year as director, or how long have you been there?
Yeah, I started the end of January this year.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yep. The old director, Al Copperthwaite, he was there a long time, wasn't he? Because the whole time I was been up in the North Maine Woods, he was a director.
yeah, he was there for 40 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Plus. Yeah, and he really built our organization and made it what it is today. He developed some huge relationships between sportsmen and the private landowners.
Oh, yeah.
He deserves all the credit in the world for that.
Yeah. You got some big shoes to fill in, huh?
Literally,
Yeah.
he's about 6'5",
Yeah.
300 pounds. So,
Literally, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah. So I think people would be interested to know maybe a little history, if you can tell a little history of it, and then really how it works for the listeners, so they'll understand that they can come to Maine and they don't have to worry about trying to find public land, which they have to in most states, you know.
So around 1970, to give you some history, these landowners got together, and their land was open prior to that, but they decided to form a separate entity that could control, or at least help the sportsmen navigate through the North Maine Woods. So North Maine Woods was created, and there was one director in place before Al, just for a couple of years, and Al Copperthwaite come up. And then about 1980, the North Maine Woods became a corporation. So we work under a board of directors who are staffed by the large landowners in northern Maine. So those landowners collectively, now there's about 24 different entities that own land in the North Maine Woods, and it's about 3.5 million acres. So that 3.5 million acres has a gate system on it. So you drive up to a gate at one of the access points and check in, and for $13 a day, you can hunt, fish, trap, do whatever you want to recreate, canoe on 3.5 million acres. So we collect that $13 at the gate, and what a bargain! If you're under 18, you're free. So it's only 18-year-olds, and I always use a comparison of myself taking my two boys hunting and fishing in northern Maine, and for $13 a day, the three of us could go out there and go brook fishing or partridge hunting, whatever you want. So we also maintain about 350 campsites, primitive type campsites in that 3.5 million acres, and we have campsite crews and maintenance crews that come in. And if you want to camp overnight, there's a little bit of a fee. You can also buy season passes. If you're like me and like to spend a lot of time up there, and season camping passes and the season day use passes also. So it's quite a bargain financially.
Oh yeah.
So in the end of the go ahead.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing I'd like to say is those campsites are beautiful. Most all of them they're really nicely located, but well maintained. You know, the crews up there, they mow the lawn, so there's nice grass areas to pitch your tent and stuff. So they're really nice, beautiful. They're as good or better campsites as you'd found at a commercial campground, I think.
Yeah, outhouses are always, in good condition.
Yeah,
well maintained. Just really nice sites. So you said 24 landowners in the 3.5 million acres. Does that include the like every camp, small camp owners and everything, or is that basically large landowners.
That's references more like industrial landowners.
Okay.
So there's bits and pieces of different companies and different landowners that have townships within that 3.5 million acres.
Okay.
So, and I don't want to leave out the idea that there's also the state park, the Allagash Wilderness Waterway is within North Maine Woods, the Penobscot River corridor, and there is public lands within that too. So the state has a little bit of ownership in it too.
Yeah, and that, I've been going up there. 1980 was actually the first year I ever went up into the North Maine Woods. We started, when I got out of the Marine Corps, we started making a trip every year to fish some different ponds, Memorial, and I've noticed over the years that must be due to the ownership that it changes, the boundaries of that changes a little bit.
Yeah, as in any walk of life, businesses are bought and sold, and there's economics involved. So sometimes that land ownership will change a little bit, but the essence of it, the average person that doesn't know that would never realize it when you come and visit.
Right. Yep. We just noticed that the gates are in different places over the years.
Yeah. Well, we, unfortunately, we were subject to economics like everybody else. So the man gates, we have, I think, 8 of them in the North Maine Woods now. And we also have a series of unmanned gates, which are electronics. So you would drive up, and if nobody's there, there's a phone, and you're on the camera. So you pick up the phone and you call the office in Ashland, and somebody will register you and open the gate electronically from a distance.
Yeah. I use the one up to Kelly Dam the most. It's 10 miles, 20 miles, I guess, back in from my house. And I'll tell you, that's some convenient, because that was a locked gate for a long time, and we had to go over through Pittston Farm and up that way. But to go up the western side to get to the Golden Road in that area is pretty quickly for me now. And the people are nice. You answer you call them on the phone, and everybody's polite and pleasant. So makes a good experience for people.
Oh, I could tell you stories of when I was a kid, right up to last week, of going through the gates and stopping to talk to people. And it's so much fun to stop there and have a conversation with them, And
yeah.
They're typically older retired people. They got a retirement job, and they just love the company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So Bill, did you work up at North Maine Woods before getting the director position, or is this something that you're just starting up there since January?
So this is my first stint with North Maine Woods, but I spent 33 years as a Maine forest ranger.
Okay.
Primarily in northern Maine, in the same area.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and of course, I grew up here hunting and fishing when I was a kid, and can tell you all the stories about brook fishing and getting lost and all the partridge I shot when I was 10 years old. And,
yeah,
it's really a special place for a lot of people. And I think that's why everybody comes back. It's not just a place you go and set your turkey blind up or catch a brook trout. It's got a special feeling to it. When you go through the gate, it's just this feeling of aura comes over you that, wow, I'm home. I'm in the North Maine Woods. I'm in my element, and it is great.
Yeah, and I think, people might not grasp the real size of it. I mean, you can say 3.5 million acres or whatever it is, but I know when I go through the Kelly Dam gate, if I want to go to Allagash and come out on the other side, it's about 150 miles north to get there.
Yeah. It's a five hour drive anyway.
Yeah, it's 5 hours. It's a good 5 hours. And then it's about 100 miles wide, I think. The Golden Road is about 100 miles through, right, from Millinocket?
I think so, somewhere's around there. But,
yeah.
If you went in at Allagash, the gate drove all the way down, and you could go all the way to almost to Greenville.
Right.
And on dirt roads, industrial logging roads, and just have a few miles of pavement when you get into Greenville. So
Yeah.
It's
Same way with me. I only have like 4 miles of pavement before I head in to go back in
Yeah.
to that Kelly Dam gate. So yeah, but yeah, we have a lot of fun there.
So I see it the most in during moose season. We're up there usually for for the first 2 weeks anyway. Sometimes we get into a cow hunt up there, but it is, that's another part of it that unless you're in business and doing things like that, you don't realize what an asset it is to be able to take clients up there and essentially run your business on someone else's land for, basically a season pass and a commercial fee that we pay. And it's just, I have heard people complain about the fees before, and it always just,
Yeah, I know.
it's kind of funny to me, access to that much land for so little, and you actually get something for it with the campsites. I mean, they're just nice, well-maintained campsites, and the way that it works, it's a first come, first serve, and it always seems to work out. I mean, I haven't been doing it as long as Hal has up there, but you might go to one site that you have your heart set on and there's someone at it, but you're going to find another one, to set up at.
Well, moose season is really the only time that it's crowded. I mean, you can go up there, Memorial, there'll be some fishermen, but, moose season, I think, is you'd probably know this, Bill, but it's probably the time that there's the most hunters in the woods up there, right?
Yeah, the weeks that we have a moose hunt and grouse season is on, then sometimes you get a little congested in spots. But, and I talk about it a little bit, but it's only those spots that are well known. We all have places that we've gone to all our lives and, have certain names, and we all love to go back there. And it seems like those spots get well known and everybody congregates there in that one place. But if you drive 10 miles up the road, there's nobody.
Right.
And, those big moose zones that we have, 1 through 6, are huge. They're gigantic.
Yeah.
It seems those well-known geographic spots, whether it's a lake or a mountain, people kind of congregate in those one spots.
Yeah.
And I found that during my moose hunts. Drive a few miles up the road and there's nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how little traffic we see moose hunters.
Yeah.
Every season it's the same thing. You get kind of, geez, I wonder if it's going to be busy this year, because it all depends on who gets drawn and who has experience in what spots, on whether an area is busy or not. And I think last year, the whole time we were up there for the week, I think I saw 3 or 4 other moose hunters, something like. I mean, it was just ridiculous how few people we saw.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of permits when you look at the map and you look at the area, and how many permits are going there. But man, that land gobbles up the people to where it just never seems busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, because it's private land, there's rules, and everybody's expected to, treat the land like it's their own and stuff. But what are some of the things that, for the rules for people that wouldn't know, go up there, like logging trucks? That's a big one. That's right. What people need to know about is logging operations.
Get out of the way.
So we have a set of rules called Rules of the Road that are in place in the North Maine Woods. And basically, they give right away to the logging trucks and the logging operations. So when you're driving up one of these big logging roads and you see a 200,000-pound logging truck coming the other way, you're expected to pull over and give that truck the right of way.
Right.
So it's called a multiple use area, which means we coexist with the logging operations and industrial wood harvesting. So, and it's great for the sportsmen. So when you see these trucks come and pull over, give them the right of way. We also ask that people that frequent the North Maine Woods have a MURS radio, MURS, multi-use radio system in their truck. And when you drive up the road, there's mile markers which are put out, and just call out the mile markers and say, I'm at mile marker 10 on the Pinkham Road, going up or going down the numbers, so that the log trucks are aware you're there. So,
How do
and
people
also,
access what channels to be on?
Or on the signs.
So we have a list. There's 5 channels, 1 through 5 on the MERS radio system. And each road is assigned a number 1 through 4. So those 4 channels are dedicated to calling out those mile markers as you travel on the road. Channel 5 is for chit chat and talking back and forth. So we don't want you chit chatting on 1 through 4. But if you want to talk to your buddies, go to channel 5.
Yeah, in each road I noticed there's a sign that says MERS whatever 1 through 4 on it on the sign.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. We try to keep those up to date. We also have a card. I think it's on our website.
Yeah, I'd like to just add a little bit to the when you see a truck coming, pull over. Pull over doesn't mean slow down and go by, and pull over means pull over and stop, really, because those trucks need to have the middle of the road because of the crown, especially in the winter too when there's less traffic. But the truck's not gonna try to crowd the ditch because you're in the way, right?
Yeah, correct. They can't get over too far because the shoulders of the road are soft, and of course they're heavy trucks. So you need to pull over, come to a stop, and just let them pass. And quite often in the summertime, as I know you guys know, there's a big dust cloud that comes behind them, and you can't see anyone.
Yeah.
So,
when I see the dust cloud coming, I start slowing down and pull right over, roll the windows up, and get ready.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let them go by. And also, I'd like to ask people when you're hunting, wherever you park, not to block a road. You know, sometimes they need access or other people need access. Don't bail out in the middle of the road with your doors open to chase that partridge up over the bank. You got to pull over, put your truck in a secure place, close the doors. And for obvious reasons, we all know that's a good idea.
Yeah, and one more thing about the trucks people aren't going to understand is these aren't your average tractor trailer trucks you see on the road. These things are almost twice as long, and what are they, 12 feet wide?
Yeah, some of them, the bunks are 12 feet wide, and they're, I think road legal's 100,000 pounds or something like that. Well, these are twice that size,
right,
what you see on the paved road. So
yeah, they're huge, and they might have a log sticking out off the side a little bit because they're only getting to the mill in Canada there or something. So
correct.
You better get over. You might lose your mirrors or something.
I've traveled up there a lot, and I respect those trucks because I've had some close calls with them, even driving easy, and it is not a good idea to go ripping around corners up there.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming. I go around any of the blind corners, and you get to know all the ones that are kind of a little sketchy,
Yeah.
and I'm looking around. It's like I'm riding a snowmobile, I feel like, looking for someone coming on the wrong side, because those trucks, like you guys were talking about, with a 12-foot bunk, they're taking up the road, and it's their road. You don't want to get upset because they're hogging it or whatever. You're the one that has the privilege to be up there. They're working, and you have to yield to them. So it's and they let you know it sometimes. They come around. They're going to take the whole road up. So for a first timer up there, it's just word to the wise. Really pay attention to that.
Oh yeah. It's a good idea. The other thing I'd like to mention is, sportsmen are really good up there. But, sometimes we want to drive that extra half a mile on the secondary road. And if you're muddying the road up, if you're creating ruts and going over culverts, then that causes a little bit of surface damage to the road, which the landowners eventually have to come in and pay for to repair.
Right.
So, if you start seeing you're sinking in the mud a little bit on some of the back roads, or you're starting to cause a little damage, it's a good time to stop and turn around and go back. And, these landowners are pretty good, but road repair and replacing culverts and such is getting really expensive, as everything else is.
Right.
So walking a little bit doesn't hurt anybody.
Right. Then there's a protocol for when you come to a logging operation, an active operation where they're loading trucks and stuff in the road, right?
Yeah, just if you come to an active operation, just turn around and leave. Don't sit there and expect them to stop work, move their equipment out of the way so you can sit through, so you can pass through. And also, if there's a sign up there that says active logging operation, no hunting, that means don't go there. And if you're there on a Saturday and, you can't really rationalize that they aren't working on a Saturday, so it's okay to drive past the sign. So you got to turn around and give that respect.
Right.
There's people working there. They don't want others shooting in their work zone.
Right. The other thing about a lot of times they'll have a wood yard, like it's not on the main road usually, but they usually have it on the side road. If they're loading it, if they're slashing wood into chunks and stuff, they're going to be doing that. But if they're loading a truck, what I always do is I just stay back and wait. And when the truck's loaded, you'll be able to get by. But you have to wait for the operator of the crane to let you know that. And
right.
And
they
know you're there.
MERS radio.
What's that?
Yeah, they'll have a MERS radio.
Yeah, they've got their radios, but a lot of the people listening might not have a MERS radio when they go there. But the etiquette for that is the operator will put his crane down on or wave you through, and don't try to go. Some people think I think I can squeeze by when he's bringing that next load of logs over to the truck. So just wait. You'll wait your turn. When the truck's loaded, you can get by if you need to get by.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So one of the other things, Bill, that's always surprising to people is what you're not allowed to use up there, which, and I've always been one of them too. I kind of thought it was funny that you can't even use a bike up there, but bikes, horses,
right.
Motorcycles, four-wheelers. I mean, obviously the four-wheelers and stuff, we know the why, but can you kind of cover the reasoning for that?
Right. So obviously bicycles are a safety issue. And matter of fact, we were just joking the other day about somebody riding down the Pinkham Road or the Golden Road on their mountain bike with their MERS radio on the handlebar, and the log truck's coming the other way. And it's not a good situation. Even if you don't collide, you're going to get hit with the rocks. And
right.
It's just really a big safety issue that we don't want to open that up. And the same with the ATVs. The landowners are very gracious to us. They just don't want ATVs because of the interaction in the logging operations and potentially environmental damage. They put literally thousands of dollars per acre into planning and pre-commercial work into their harvest operations. And it's just disappointing to see somebody drive through there with an ATV and crush their seedlings you know what I mean? So we're just going to avoid that type of interaction and not have ATVs or bicycles because of safety in the North Maine Woods. Snow sledding in the winter is fine.
Right.
You can go snow sledding there because of the ground's covered with snow and there's some protection. So.
Yeah, and I had two thoughts there, but I actually like those rules because that actually keeps that North Maine Woods more, I don't know the word.
Traditional?
Traditional, yeah, it's traditional. It's more like a wilderness experience for a lot of people. You're not going to hear ATVs and you aren't going to see people riding around on bikes. It just keeps everything like it was in the past, I guess, with the exception of more roads,
Yeah, and the packing, I mean, I think that's what's caused so many people to have to learn how to pack a moose out because you don't have the option up there. You can't go get your side-by-side or four-wheeler. So, which I think, like, to Hal's point, is a great thing. It's more traditional. It's a better experience. It's just, I think it's unique. Makes it a little bit better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've noticed there's, and it's not just up there; it's in a lot of places too. There's a lot of roads getting rocked off or pulled the culverts to. I know the reason for it is to put them back the way they were, But a lot of people don't understand that either. They kind of crab about, geez, I can't drive in there anymore and stuff. But there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah, there's some LARP regulations that require them in certain instances to put a road to bed. And also, they sometimes reuse those culverts. They're expensive, and they can take them and put them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Sometimes those roads are what we call winter roads that aren't constructed for summer use. They create the right of way, and then they let them freeze down in the winter. So they'll go and put that road to bed, pull the culverts out for good reason, and I kind of like that. Well, that's some of my favorite bird hunting.
Oh, me too.
Deer hunt, yeah.
Yeah. For that, for deer, moose, even birds, those are nice roads because you can get away from people and there's, I wouldn't dare say how many miles of those are up there, but it's got to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of those roads, right?
Right. There's a lot of them, and I think you're going to see that probably a little more down the road, just because road construction and road maintenance is so expensive. Yeah. So they're trying to, manage their economics, manage the environmental side, and I support what they're doing there. I think it's great to not put a road on every corner and every place that we go. I like that wilderness concept, like you were talking about.
Right, because some of the ways they have to cut economically. Like when they get in there to get the wood, they're going to get all the wood they want, and then they can leave it for 15, 20 years or whatever they do, and then they don't have to maintain the road, so they just get out and leave them alone, right?
Yeah, they go in and harvest and put the road to bed and move on.
Yeah, makes some people don't understand it, but it's really makes the best hunting by doing it that way. You just have to not be lazy. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. You gotta put a little effort in.
So I know one. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
Go ahead. That these paper companies, when you talk about timber harvesting, wood harvesting in Maine or the forest products industry is the largest industry in the state, and they have a huge economic responsibility here to keep people working.
Right.
And we just have to remember that once in a while, that we're fortunate that they consider us as part of their business, when we come in the North Maine Woods, and they're very gracious to us. And I get to interact with these corporate leaders, corporate executives, and they want us to be there, and they're thoughtful on that side. But on this other side, every job that's lost hurts them. It hurts all of us. So they have a huge economic responsibility here in Maine and throughout and beyond.
Right. And
we have to think about that once in a while.
Hey, Hal here. I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with OnX Hunt. I've been using it for a while now, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm not a very techie person, but the OnX app is it's a real time saver. I remember the days when we poured over topo maps everywhere we was going to go and stuff, and I don't do that quite as much anymore. Where it's really helped me is scouting, whether it's deer scouting, a moose, or even turkey hunting in the spring, which I do. It really helps out. I don't have to spend as much time running around the truck burning up the gas. I'm just basically using my OnX. Got it on my phone. Don't even carry a GPS anymore. So I just download the areas where I'm going to be hunting, whether it's up north moose hunting, and I use it mostly on the satellite imagery. I like to see the cuts and the clearings and the turkey hunting, the hidden fields and stuff. But everybody's using it now, from the game wardens to land surveyors, and just a great tool. And with our partnership with OnX, if you use a code BWB, you're going to receive 20% off on your first premium or elite memberships. And you just go to onxmaps.com/hunt. You'll be glad you did. Good luck on the trail.
As you all know, Big Woods Bucks is devoted to promoting the best equipment for tracking and still hunting the big woods. Part of that equation for success is the sights that sit on your hunting rifle. We've chosen Skinner Sights as the company to produce our custom-built BWB Tracker Series peep sight. It's constructed of solid steel, has our custom ghost ring, and was co-developed by some of the best trackers in the world. To get yours, go to bigwoodsbucks.com and click on the Optics tab.
Hey folks, Rick Libby here from Big Woods Bucks. I'm here today to tell you about our new packs. This is our new small pack, which the first time I saw it, Chris showed it to me and I said, that's the Nuna, because that's the perfect pack if I'm getting on a buck track at noon. And it'll hold the sandwich, your water, a little bit of gear. It's virgin wool, made in USA, waterproof resistant, has a liner on the inside. It's a great pack. This pack, this is our newest large pack, which when I used to carry the older pack, I always wore suspenders because it bothered my hips a little bit. So we designed one with shoulder straps, and this is a great pack. It takes the weight off your hips, puts it onto your shoulders. It's got a GPS pouch right here in the top you slide in. Same deal, it's water resistant on the inside, got that liner. It's a perfect pack. So I go to bigwoodsbucks.com, get yours today, and I'll see you on the track.
Pine State Armory in Skowhegan is your ultimate destination for hunting and outdoor gear. Located at 338 Madison Avenue, we're more than just a store, we're family. Nick and Jess and their friendly dogs, Bailey and Ruby, are always ready to greet you. Pine State Armory is a family-friendly store where safety meets expertise. Your kids are always welcome, and if you're new to the sport, we're here to help with gear recommendations and the knowledge and information you need to get started right. Looking to buy, sell, or trade firearms, whether new or used, we have what you need. And to those who serve our country, we're proud to offer a military discount as a token of our appreciation. Visit us today at Pine State Armory, 338 Madison Avenue, Unit 8 in Skowhegan, and experience the great outdoors like never before.
So I was just thinking about some of the other things that are kind of unique with the restrictions, and one of them is the camper size restriction, which I also think is a good one. So can you explain how that works with the length and the total length and all that?
Right. We just made a little change in our policy. It was due to the size of pickups. You know, we all know the pickups are getting longer, and if you've got an extended cab pickup with an 8-foot bed, that doesn't leave you much room for a camper on the back end. So we went to a 48-foot overall length truck and camper. Now you could only get that size with an exception and with a permit, like a variance before, but because of the interaction with the log traffic going down the road, you know, going around corners, like you mentioned, you know, it's difficult. The longer we get, the more tough it is. So we limit that at 48 feet now. So you can come in the woods, truck and camper can be 48 feet without a special permit. We do have some over-length sites that allow for bigger campers, you know, which we try to construct that way. But you're kind of on your own too, because this is a remote area. It's a wilderness area, gravel roads. You know, you got to be responsible for your own stuff up there. Right. And if you hit a tree back, you know, go off the road into a ditch or back into a lake, then you're on your own too. So that's part of that recommendation of 48 feet. You get too big up there, and you're just not going to be able to turn around in the campsites. You're just not going to be able to navigate.
Right. Yeah, my cargo trailer that I use for my moose camp is in the shop now. I'm replacing all the leaf springs because they came out in multiple pieces last year at the end of the season. So it is rough on equipment. I've got a lot of breakdowns to attest to that, and tires.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the things that we always tell people is bring a 12-ply.
At least a 10-ply tire, and then a lot of people should, if you don't have 10-ply tires, you should have 2 spare tires up there.
Always 2 spares, yeah.
2 spares. A lot of shale. People don't understand that either. It's not it's not just gravel roads. They build and repair a lot of them roads with shale because that's what's available in the ground, right? In the pits.
Yeah, and it makes great roads for the logging industry. For those big heavy trucks, it holds up really good. So, like you say, it's hard on our tires.
Yeah, and then I would tell people, if a road has just been graded, whether it's gravel or shale, because most people wouldn't know anyway, drive slow. Because when you drive fast on a newly graded road, there's a lot of that sharp stone. And the faster you go, the quicker it cuts, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you start cornering, sliding a little bit, loose gravel, you're going to lose a tire. It's just, it's going to happen. Yeah.
And there's nowhere to get them fixed up there.
That's a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to consider to go up there. It's not like going to like a state park or something, but I think the benefit of it is well worth the preparation you put in to make a trip up there,
Yeah, but just be prepared, use your head, bring, like you say, spare tires and jacks. Bug spray is always a good thing in the summer. I don't go too far without it there.
So you've been up.
That tools.
You were a forest up there for years, you said. So why don't you tell us what your experience is with the deer herd and where it was, where it went, and where do you think it's going now?
So back, and you guys can probably correct me, probably 8 years ago, we had 2 winters in a row that were very difficult winters for the deer herd. And prior to that, I hunted and fished up there, shot a few deer myself. The deer were plentiful. We can all have deer stories up to kazoo about our friends or ourselves that chasing them or shooting them. Prior to that, the deer herd was very healthy. But those 2 winters back to back, there was like 4 feet of snow on the ground. Took their toll on the deer herd.
Yeah.
And but recently, the last couple of years, and especially this past winter, it's been very good. It's just the other way. So this past winter, it was warm. There wasn't a big snow load. And especially going into the spring season, when the does start to get really heavy and they kind of flounder in the deep snow, becomes difficult to them. They had a really good spring this year. So we're going to have a really successful fawn dropping or whatever you want to call it this year. So the deer sightings are popping up more and more all the time. People are seeing more deer, bigger deer. And I think we're recovering now finally from those 2 winters.
Yeah, those were the winters. It was a little more than 8. It was 2007, 8, and 9 in that 2-year span, 7, 8, and 9. It really knocked them down. I remember because the closest deer yard to me in the North Maine Woods was at Pittston Farm Deer Yard and Pittston and Comstock, and that really took a toll because it's really not overall that big of a deer yard, but the deer had spread out because there was so many. They were able to, there was enough of them to keep the trails, and they spread way out beyond what was really good yarding habitat. And they got stuck there. They got out in places with no overstory, and they got in that 4 feet of snow, and they couldn't get anywhere, and they couldn't get anything to eat. And they claim they lost 85% of them in them 2 years.
I believe it. Yeah, it was hard on them, and But the good news is, we're seeing deer all the time. Every time I go in the woods now, I see them in the roads, and more deer sign. I think they're coming back and recovering a little bit. And I would certainly, it's worth coming up here and doing a little scout and maybe booking a deer hunt. So
seems like a lot more guys are making the trip these days.
Yeah.
Going up and camping out and utilizing the North Maine Woods and deer hunting up there more.
Yeah. They just have to know anybody going that's not familiar with it, you're going to have to find pockets of deer. It's not like they're everywhere because you can moose hunt in places and you hardly ever see a dried up deer track in the mud, but other places
Yeah.
there's quite a few tracks.
Yeah. I got into them near my camp last year, and I wasn't successful, but I was right there,
Yeah.
having a blast. And I tried to do a little bit of still hunting and a little bit of tracking and do my due diligence, prepare a little bit. You can find them. They're out there.
Yeah. Snow makes it a
It's
little
lot of
easier,
fun.
right? Snow makes it a little easier.
Snow makes it easier. Yeah. Yeah.
At least
does, yeah.
doesn't make it much easier to get them, just finding them, right?
Just finding them. And that's the fun of it for me, getting in them and doing a little tracking and having some fun and getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a big difference in the last few years during this time of year for shed season with the increase in traffic?
Yes. Yeah. And that's, we love to have people come up there and do shed hunting. It's a pretty big thing now. But one thing we want to ask people that engage in that, spring comes, just be really cognizant of the muddy roads. We don't want people tracking up the roads like we talked about earlier. You got to get out there and do a little bit of walking, and driving down those secondary roads, when there's still a little bit of snow in places and it's muddy, can really cause a lot of damage. It causes a lot of expense to the landowners. So,
yeah. And not only that, some people wouldn't know, but the roads that have been plowed in the winter, because the frost goes deeper, it probably goes down there 4 or 5 feet. And when that's coming out in the spring, you can lose a vehicle in a frost pocket, right in the middle of the road.
Oh yeah, you can get yourself in a conundrum pretty easy out there in the springtime.
Yeah. So the other thing I got thinking about was, we talked about the gates and the gate fees and checking in, but there's dates for that. It's mainly the summer and the fall, and then the winter, the gates are all opened up, right?
Right. We opened May 8th this year.
May 8th.
We say we opened, that's when we staff our gates. So, and we usually have staff all summer long. It's kind of funny to say that they're open because they're actually closed,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So then their staff right up till like the week before Thanksgiving. So dependent on the traffic. And Thanksgiving, the rest of the time in the wintertime, they aren't staffed, which means they're wide open. You can travel in and out of there at no expense at all.
But just put on the other layer of caution about the roads aren't going to be gravel in the winter. They're going to be ice all winter. So watch out for the trucks then too.
Yeah, and they like to harvest it in the winter when the roads are frozen and the ground's frozen. It's a good time of year to get some wood out. So
right.
They're usually January, February, into March are going great guns.
Yeah. So in the fall, it always, in the past, I remember way back, been quite a few years, but it always closed after Thanksgiving. It's like Thanksgiving week was the end, but I noticed it's been pulled back a little bit, and that's just because of it's not worth it when there's only so many people, right?
Right. Right. It was all according to the volume of people that are going through the gates and how much money we're collecting.
Right.
At the gates, we got to pay our staff and everything. And as we talked about a little while ago, deer hunters are usually the bulk of people in November. And when the deer herd was down a little bit, and we didn't have quite that many people going through the gates. So that's how we usually gauge when we're closing is, around the second week of November, we'll assess how much money we're taking in and whether we can pay the gate attendants and pay our bills.
Yeah, so you don't have a set time. It's just somewheres in the middle of November now.
Yeah, well, pretty much that way. We look towards Thanksgiving week, is what we like to do. We won't be staffed during the Thanksgiving Day holidays, when a lot of people like to go hunting. The gates will be open by then, but depending on whether it's that week or the week before, will matter how much attendance there are.
Right.
So another thing that came to mind for me is something we deal with every year is, especially with the moose hunt, if you're up there and you're doing the camping and the day use and all that, you never know how long you're going to be there. And so it, we always get the season passes because we're back and forth so much. It makes sense. But for someone that's just going up for a single moose hunt and then coming right out once they get their moose, they sometimes don't know. So what I think some people don't realize is you can pay the extra coming out if you're in there for extra time, and you can also get a refund if you're in there if you bought for a lot longer than what you're in there for.
Correct. Yeah. We base the passes on a 7-day use. So if you're paying $13 a day to go in there, it's more economical if you go over 7 days to buy a pass. So, that's kind of the rule of thumb for us. If you're in there for more than a week, buy a pass. If you're in there less than a week, then pay the day use fees. So, and you're correct, Joe, in that you can always get a refund or you can pay that little extra on the way out. Yeah. Either way.
Yeah. So how many visitors go through the gates in a year?
So we're getting historically about 70,000 visitors. So it's a pretty good number, and actually that's staying pretty flatlined at around 70,000. What's interesting to know is that the visitor days are going up. The number of days that people are spending there is increasing, and we were looking at that a little while ago as to why that is. Is that relative to people hunting for a whole week while they're moose hunting, or because the moose hunt, you're pretty well locked in for a week, or is it people going to their leases or visiting leases? That's a potential issue too, because more and more we're seeing people have camp leases, or people going to sporting camps are staying longer while they're in there. The sporting camps, I hope are doing pretty well. They have a pretty good attendance, and I would encourage people, if you don't have a lease, to go stay there. It's a great opportunity to stay at these beautiful sporting camps.
Right. So have you noticed the difference? It's about the same number overall, but is it shifted from summer to fall? Like if there is less deer hunters, is there more fishermen or something like that? Or is it maybe the moose hunters? I'm sure that's increased over the years, so maybe that's changing it a little.
Yeah, the moose hunters have increased the attendance. Deer hunting in November, like we talked about, has been down the last few years. So we don't get the big numbers during deer season. Grouse hunting is always popular. Believe it or not, canoeing last year, as rainy as it was all summer, canoeing was very popular because places like the St. John River and the Allagash had high water levels.
Right.
So you could get down through there. And the fishing's been great. Trout fishing, and even the muskies have been fantastic.
Right.
And I think those areas were picking up in numbers. Moose hunt were picking up a little bit. And, for the first time, I've heard of guided turkey hunts in the North Maine Woods. So this spring. So believe it or not, about every time I go in the woods for a day or two, I see a turkey.
Yeah. Well,
kind of unusual. Yeah.
Old guide Mike on our Big Woods team, he took a guy up there last week and shot a turkey up there.
Yeah. It's interesting. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I remember saying before we ever had turkeys here, which we're, an hour south of the Golden Road here, and saying, one day we might have a turkey season here. Never would you have foreseen it up in the North Maine Woods. But,
I think
interesting.
I think they come in from the farm country for the summer. They fly over from Canada because Canada's started having a lot of turkeys over there in Quebec. So I think that's where they come from because they're not there in the winter. You can go up there all winter and never see a turkey track up there.
Oh, yeah. There, but we're seeing them more and more, like you say, that it's kind of it's a shift from November, back towards October, September. Canoeing in the summer is becoming more and more prevalent. People love the Allagash and the St. John. I spent a couple of weeks this spring on the St. John River, had a blast.
Yep.
And
my daughter's actually, it just hit me. She's up there camping this weekend.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, her and Braden and Dennis are up. up this weekend utilizing the North Maine Woods.
So go ahead.
No,
If somebody was just wanting to go up and experience it for the first time, say in the summer, to get a feel for it, maybe somebody wanted to go up in the summer and look around, maybe to scout out an area to deer hunt or something, what would be like the time that's like kind of the quietest time with less people?
Well, probably, I'd say, that June is a pretty good time, coming right up, and you get into July. Take your fishing pole and a bucket of worms and go for a ride up there and do some exploring. It's a great time. Some of my funnest memories are going up there doing just that. And we cook, take one of those little barbecue. Early days it was charcoal hibachis. Now we get the propane hibachis. That on your tailgate, cook a couple cheeseburgers and catch some brook trout and ride around and explore.
And you can catch a brook trout at just about every stream you cross. You come to a bridge, under the bridge is always good for a couple, right?
Oh, always, yeah. It's a blast.
Yeah. Well, this is good stuff. I'm hoping the listeners are intrigued by what we have up here in the North Maine Woods and might want to come and visit and give it a try, because I think it's a unique experience. It is. It's not what I think. It is a unique experience from probably anywhere else in the country, because they don't have this type of a deal they can get to, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole relationship with the working forest and the sportsmen and everything. It is very unique, but such a huge asset for the state. I mean, all you got to do is look at any map and look at the lack of roads in that section of North Maine Woods, and you can tell it's a special place.
Yeah, and one last thing might be to just don't check your brain out at the gate. There's campsites that allow. They have fire rings already there. That's where you have your fires. Don't be building fires anywhere else, right?
Right. You want to, most of those campsites are authorized, we call it, which you don't need a fire permit, but you want to double check where you are. There are some which require a open fire permit from the Maine Forest Service, but usually you're all right. Always know the weather and the fire danger level, and you can usually get that at the gate when you go through.
Right. And everything you bring in, bring it back out. Don't leave any trash around, and if you find any trash, pick it up, take that with you, all right?
Absolutely. Always carry your garbage. I never realized how many people drank Bud Light till you drive down the road and you see the cans in the ditch, and how you pick them up. We call them nickel birds, and we throw them in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't throw beer cans out the window.
Yeah. It used to be Bud Light. I think that's swinging the other way now.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just also want to mention here that, the campsites are great. We like to collect the money for them, but there's a group called the Maine Guides Association, and there's all kinds of high-end sporting camps in the North Maine Woods.
Right.
And if you don't want to go out and pitch a tent, these are great places to go, and they'll feed you and give you some guidance where you want to hunt, fish, and provide a guide if you want. And we have a whole list of that on our website and in our brochure of different guide services, and they're very reasonably priced, and they appreciate the business. So. Maine Guides are very professional, and they'll help any first timers out.
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors for the Guides Association, and I actually, some people listening might be just a little nervous to drive into 3.5 million acres. So if you're that person, for sure, go to a camp, experience that. You get fed and have a nice place to stay, and someone can show you the ropes up there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Got anything else, Joe?
I think that's it. But, Bill, we really appreciate you coming on. John Benway was the one who suggested it and got me your contact. And Of course, John's a good friend of ours, and
yeah, John's a great guy. You know, he's caught a fish or two up on Spider, and
I think he probably found a shed or two up there also, but he's never going to admit it. So he doesn't realize I put a tracker on his truck.
Yeah, he likes to do that. He is a good outdoorsman.
Yeah,
a good friend. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you reaching out with us and explaining everything to our listeners, and
hope everyone gets out and utilizes it.
Right.
It's cheap money to go up and enjoy that big of a wilderness. So hopefully we can, because it's going to take people up there to always keep the gates open and keep them manned and kind of keep it under the same way that it's operated now.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And what a place to take your kids. Instead of having them sitting in front of the video games or going and hanging out downtown, it's a lot better to get them out in the woods.
Yeah. Lots to do, lots to see. If you've never seen a moose, that's a place to go, right?
Oh yeah. And there's so much interesting stuff there once you get into it, whether you like plants or trees or you're into animals or biology.
Yeah.
And my good friend Professor Sun Sing Wang from UMPI goes out there and does all kinds of geology type work. And it's so interesting. No matter what you like to do, it doesn't have to be consumptive hunting.
Right.
It can be if you like animals and flowers and biology and trees and geology. It's a great place.
So, something else I just remembered too, as far as access is flying up there with a float plane is a little more difficult because there's not as many, especially when you get up in the northwest area. There's not much water to land on, but there are a couple airstrips now that have been open in the last few years. Which is, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is it Big Pine?
Red Pine
Red
Campground.
Pine.
And then there's one down by the Ragmuff Road, correct?
I think so. I'm not as familiar with that one, but I think there is one, yeah.
Okay.
Those are for wheels.
One up by Esco.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's for wheels, and then you can land at Clayton Lake with a float plane. And do they have fuel in for planes? Or is that?
I'm not sure that they have fuel for sale. Certainly, if you were in a pinch, you could land there. If you were on bingo fuel type situation, land there, and they would help you out.
Yeah.
But I don't know as a rule that they have fuel for sale.
Yeah.
That was
just a problem.
That was really nice why they got those open, like the Red Pine, and because that area. If you have a plane and want access, it's a great place to be able to hop up to if you have a vehicle up there or something, or someone meet you. So it's always good to know options.
Right. Don't forget to pay.
Don't forget to St. John.
Yeah. Don't forget to pay before you get in your plane and go up there.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, that's important. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, make sure you do that. And there's shelters there. You can get in out of the rain and eat lunch.
Yeah.
And a good spot. Pavement's in great shape. I was just there a week or so ago.
Which one?
The one at Red Pine.
Oh, Red Pine. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a group called RAF that's maintaining that now. They're clearing brush and trying to restore it back. And I think they're going to go up to Escort and try to restore that.
Nice.
Also.
Nice.
Good deal.
Yep. Well, okay. I guess we'll wrap it up. And again, we appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your day.
Well, not a problem. It's a beautiful day today. All weekend's been great. Great Memorial weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got pouring rain here, so.
Yeah, I went.
Well, it's coming.
Went south on us quick, but
yeah.
Well, hope to see you around up there, Bill.
Yeah, hope to see you in the woods. Thanks, Joe and Hal.
Okay. We'll talk
in the woods.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
All right. Now you all know a little bit about the North Maine Woods, and it really is a unique spot, and give it a try. Yep.
Yeah, it's I've always wondered the number, how many people
Right.
go up there, because we're up there the busiest weeks and it still doesn't seem
Yeah.
like it's that busy.
Right. 70,000 sounds like, geez, I don't want to go up there. There'd be 70,000. There's never 70,000 people. Yeah.
You never, I mean, if
Yeah.
you were up there, like when we go up before season just doing scouting, we sometimes don't ever see another vehicle.
Yeah. Mike told me when he went up turkey hunting the other day, they went just for the day, he left it. I think he told me they left at 1:30, 2 in the morning.
He's sick.
Yeah, I know.
There's something wrong with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
1:30.
He's turkey crazy. And they drove up, and they went all the way to the St. Orly Road, which is nearly halfway, up.
Yeah, St. Orleans about 2.5 hours from Jackman.
Yeah, so they went up there, got a bird, and drove back, and never passed another vehicle up there. Never passed a vehicle on the road or saw anybody up there. And it's quite common because I go up, take a ride once in a while too, and especially this time of year. Till you get to Memorial this weekend, I'm sure there was more people there, but still, it is not a crowded place, and you can have places to yourself for a long time up there, and it's really cool.
Yep.
Yep. And maybe you'll get drawn for your moose permit, and me and Joe will take you up there with us.
That's coming right up.
Yeah, that's coming
Couple
up.
more weeks.
Yeah.
Wow, it'll be over by the time this comes
Yeah.
out, I think. So,
All right. Well, till next time, don't forget to ding the bell and stuff. Subscribe, do all of that stuff. And till next time, good luck on the trail.
Hi, everyone. Team member Mark Sheeran here. Are you or someone you know struggling with a drug or alcohol problem, but you don't want to go to rehab or 12-step meetings? Well, that's exactly why we created our non-12-step Freedom Model Coaching Program. In our program, you can be coached by me and Michelle Dunbar through our in-house 2-day addiction solution workshop, or if you want to stay home, you can be coached through video conferencing on Zoom. Both options are powerful and proven effective. We've personally coached more than 27,000 people over the last 34 years. With the Freedom Model, you won't have any record of being treated for an addiction either. This is a huge benefit for those with professional licenses, or who are high profile, or simply who have a lot to lose with such a damaging label. If you're ready to change your life and solve your addiction for good, call me directly at 888-424-2626 and set up your free 30-minute coaching session today. I look forward to helping you. And here's that number again, 888-424-2626.
hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.